Welcome back to the Lifehack Show, and I'm your host Jade. It is wonderful to see you again. To give you a quick update on my splits, they're going really well. It's slow but steady progress, but rest is just as important as actually doing stuff. So I'm on a rest week at the moment to see how much it enhances my splits, because I had a couple rest days the other day and then my splits went down by 2 centimeters. So we are going to see how it goes. But welcome back to the Lifehack Show, because today we're going to be talking about learning faster and using that big beautiful brain to have the ultimate memory recall. Do you often forget what you had for breakfast? Or do you know when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, I need to do this, so you walk into the other room and then you get there and you're like, why am I in here? What have I forgotten? Because this happens to me all the time, absolutely all the time, and it's so frustrating. And your mind is kind of like a muscle, like your guns or your buns or your chest. If you don't actually use it or exercise it, it atrophies. So if you want better memory, to foster learning, have more creative ideas, sit down, because we are going to go through how you can have the best possible memory. Today, we are going to transform your brain and you into a super learner. So as always, there is a PDF linked right below you, so you can come through this video with me and we can work it out together and make sure that you've got everything you need to become a super learner. Also, if you do have any questions or you want to reach out, you can reach out to us on social media. We have an entire Facebook group where we chat about stuff like this. Just reach out if you have any questions and you want to join our wonderful Lifehack community. Let's get into it. Every day on social media, we are bombarded with celebrities and millionaires doing their big, amazing, successful things. And it's so easy for us to think that they have something that we don't, a special skill, an asset, an unfair advantage that they were born with that we simply don't have. But that is so not true. They weren't born with this innate skill that we can't have. They just know how their brain works and they utilize what they have to achieve their beautiful, wonderful, amazing goals. And you can too. There is no hidden secret. There is just using their brain to their advantage. Speaking of social media, do you actually remember any of the headlines that you read on social media? We scroll and we see like hundreds, like tens of thousands of headlines. Did you actually remember any of them? I know I don't, unless it's a clickbait article. Unless I got tricked and I read a clickbait article and it was nothing, it wasn't actually anything, and I'm just so frustrated that I fell for the clickbait that I remember it just to complain about it, because I was just like, I got caught by a clickbait. But apart from that, don't remember any of the headlines that I read on social media. We need to start using our brains the right way. It is not about memorizing every single piece of information out there. It's about remembering and storing key information in the most efficient and smartest possible way so that we can recall the right information instead of remembering all the useless nonsense that we always seem to be remembering. Now, let's talk about becoming faster learners and more effective problem solvers. Let's break it down into 3 steps for you. Imagine that you're an assistant to your boss, the most important boss in the world, and that is your brain. Your boss does not need to know all of the small, mundane information that is just floating around. Your boss needs the important key information in order to process most effectively. And your job is to filter all of this random fluff information, like what's happening in the water cooler and what low-level deals went down. Your boss doesn't need to know that. He needs to know the big, important stuff. And that is what we are going to do. We are going to filter it so our big, important boss man brain can process the most important information. And this framework is called the digital brain, and it is in the PDF that is linked in the description box. Again, you can download it and we can go through it together so we can hype your brain to be the best possible brain. Step 1 is recording. We are all about recording the important information that comes out from raw and unfiltered from the wild so we can import it into your digital brain. So let's take an example of this. You know when you're in the middle of something and you have one of those thoughts, one of those brilliant ideas, those aha moments. I always have them when I'm like on a walk or driving. And those moments, they're like pure genius idea. We need to store them and do something with them, because else they just go out the window. Because we're already in action, we can't always just stop or pull over and write some of these ideas down. So we need to come up with a system to actually remember all of these beautiful, amazing ideas we have while we're in the middle of doing something. And we need to decide to save them as soon as possible. And this is called the quick collection method. And we're going to talk about how you can do that. First up is filtering what you store. You need to filter information that is essential, actionable information, the information that you plan on actually using. You don't need to store any kind of waffle. If it's not going to be relevant or if it's not important, you can just ditch it. Just ditch it from your brain. We need to focus on the key information that you want to save. and store only knowledge that you plan to use. So say I was reading a blog post article and I was reading something and I had an idea for my own post. I don't need to remember the statistic that I read, I just need to remember the idea. So I can just ditch the rest of it and write down the idea that I've had. And then I can ditch all of the irrelevant info. Next up, fill it in quickly. Write down the idea that I've had from the blog post as soon as possible. It is so important to do this. You can use your phone as well. There are so many apps. You've got like notes and calendars, or sometimes I use Penzu, but open an app and write that idea down. And we want to make sure that we're putting key and accurate information in. So here are some good things to use. One, use keywords. Make sure that you have strong keywords to identify your idea. So I would put blog post idea in caps. Number two is only keep what you need. Do not save irrelevant information. So if I had a whole article, I wouldn't save the whole thing. I would just save the thing that prompted the idea, and I would save that in my notes. And number three, if all else fails, take a photo. I often do a screenshot of an idea. If I'm reading something, I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll take a screenshot for later on. But it is also a good idea to save the URL so you can always come back to it. So if I do screenshot something, I will always save the URL in a bookmark. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, but there is an easy 4-way method to remember this, and that is the 4 W's. Who, what, why, and when. Who's it for? What are you gonna do with it? When are you gonna use it? And what is it about? And if you have at least 3 of these in your like little memory note, it's going to be so much more efficient. So if I'm like, who's it for? It's for me. When am I gonna use it? I'm gonna use it in a blog post next week. So there's a what and a when. Helpful way to remember it, right? It's time to talk about filing and forgetting. It's time to file and forget. Now, I want you to picture it like an inbox. You know how you constantly have emails coming in and they're full of so many different ideas and things and communications. It's just chaos. There is something organized about an inbox. I also like to picture this as a barrel, and if I write like an idea down, I'll just throw it in the barrel, and it gets chaotic and disorganized so quickly because there's no order to it. And the more ideas and things that just get dropped on top, the older the ideas, they just get lost in the chaos that is your inbox/barrel of ideas. If this is happening to you in the PDF, we have a fantastic exercise to actually help with this, to help organize your inbox so that you can be so much more efficient. Moving on to the organizational stage. Right, it's time to imagine that you're in a supermarket, and your supermarket of ideas, and you're just walking down and you're putting stuff in your trolley. Some of the things are on your shopping list, and some of the things you're like, ooh, that's a really interesting and delicious looking bag of ideas, and you're like, I'll just put that in there. And you've got a nice trolley filled with amazing ideas, and you've got to the checkout and you've just put it all on the trolley thing, on the conveyor belt, and it's just chaos. This is where you want to organize it into like fresh fruits and dried snacks and actual snacks. Because if you don't, it's just going to be chaos. Because if you take it all home, it'll take forever to put it away. It is so much easier to organize it now. And a great way to organize it is using tags. Tags are kind of like keywords that we use to reference different types of information, but you need to be careful with how you use them. First up, you need to be consistent. If you have a keyword for like gift idea, don't have several. So don't have like gift idea and present, only have one tag for one premise. Be specific. Do not use vague words like maybes and miscellaneous and yes or no. Always use like nouns. Verbs get more confusing, nouns are much more specific, and you're kind of limited, and it is so much more specific. So that is a great way to have a tagging system in your brain. Step 3 is recall, because what is the point in saving all of this cool information if we're never ever going to use it? So we're going to talk about recall and what is the best way to do that using our keywords and tags. Because if you do the 2 steps above, then you will be so able to have all of these great ideas just snap right back into the forefront of your mind. So let's take an example. Say you saw an advert for a really nice luxury watch and you thought, hey, that's a great idea for someone. So you assigned the gift tag, gift idea, the person's name, and what it was. So I'm going to give you an example. If I saw a luxury watch ad, like a Rolex, I would think of my brother. So I would say that as brother, gift idea, watch. And birthday, because it would be a birthday idea. And by assigning all of these tags, it makes it so much easier. So instead of just thinking of the tag gift, that could be so many different gift ideas. So we have like a watch, but I also have a banana bed shape for a cat. We have like a nice mug. There are so many gift ideas that are floating around my brain. But If I was sat there and I thought, hey, it's my brother's birthday soon, I need to get him a gift, we've got brother, gift, birthday, all 3 tags, ping, ping, ping. The idea will pop into my head that went, hey, didn't you see an ad for a Rolex the other month? And I'll be like, oh my God, I did, that's perfect. That is how it works. It is wonderful. You can assign useful tags to ideas that you have so that when the need comes and it is prompted, it can pop straight back into your head. And you can narrow down searches by having multiple tags assigned to one idea, which really helps narrow it down and pinpoint exactly the perfect idea. I don't know about you, but I'm so ready to get my digital brain to work. I've spent a lot of time at the moment reading and learning new skills because I want to learn all about skincare and taking care of my skin. And it has so many different areas or keywords of things I need to remember and things I need to learn. And this is really, really helpful, helping to remember important information and not remember all the waffle that comes around it. Thank you so much for watching. It has been a pleasure chatting to you today. Again, please like and subscribe. It would be great. It really helps the channel and it is so appreciated. And please leave a comment. Let me know, what are your goals? What are you up to? What are you going to be doing? And how are you going to be applying this information to your life? Have an absolutely wonderful day.